Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hanging around here at the studio today, heading down to the arena, boots on the ground for a little Heat NBA Cup action against the Bucks. So we got Miami, Wisconsin tonight. We got Miami, Wisconsin coming up on Thursday, Turkey Day, and very, very excited. Tua Tagovailoa speaking to the media today. I got to tell you, give me the goosies, because I was very, very impressed by his answer when he was talking about getting ready for this game and what he said after the game, where he goes, I'm ready to kill some narratives. And there are aplenty, you know. And it's funny because when we talk about these narratives, we could talk about the Miami Dolphins and whether they're tough enough and mentality if they're tough enough. And yes, everybody has a hand in that pot. But really, when it comes down to it, can they handle the cold? Can they handle prime time? Can they handle good teams? All that stuff really does fall on the quarterback. It really does. All of it falls onto Tua. He is the identity of the team. Right or wrong, that's just how it is with this Miami team. And he's been marvelous. He has been fantastic in his return, and he has taken care of business in every one of these games outside of, I could say, the bad snap exchange against the Arizona Cardinals, his first game back. The Bills game, I thought he played great. Obviously has played great in the wins since. 3-game win streak for the Miami Dolphins. Now 3-2 since his return. Now they have the opportunity to even things up, right? And the stakes are high. The margin for error is not very big for the Miami Dolphins. They're not only chasing teams, they got teams that are breathing down their neck that have a tiebreaker. Shout out to the Lions. And they really, really need to keep this going. Maybe the Dolphins can afford like one more loss if they want to get into the playoffs with how bunched up that AFC is. Outside of looking at and really like looked at a team like the Colts, they just got nothing doing. And it's not like the Dolphins' schedule looks like a monster the rest of the way, but there are going to be games that the elements are not going to be fantastic, right? Like there's a Cleveland on the road. They got a little bit of life with Jameis Winston. There's a Jets on the road. Who effing knows with that team? Divisional game, wind swirling. A lot has to be proven in this game. You can't minimize it. I don't want it minimized. I don't want it looked upon as, oh, it's just another game. Oh, just play the best. Bull bleep. The Dolphins put themselves in this big hole. Yes, buoyed by injury from Tua, but now he's back. And now you have this opportunity to get everything right and reset the season. And not only that, but prove a lot of people on some things. Can you do it on the big? Because anytime, here's the thing. Anytime the Dolphin fan really wants to dive in with both feet and really want to believe, it does feel like the letdown's there. You know, that's the thing. Every time you want to wrap your arms around this team and you want to say, now I believe again, it feels like the letdown's around the corner, right? We refer to this on when I talk about the Heat. I get called Wild Heat Coyote because I keep chasing the road runner and they keep letting you down. And you don't want to be in this case. You don't want to be the coyote to the Dolphins road runner of getting fooled. But with Tua going out there, first of all, I love how he handles himself. I love how we do feel like we're having a more mature, double middle fingers Tua, defiant Tua, and everything. I mean, we've heard this since him coming back from the concussions and him almost mad that he was out with the concussions and the reasons that he was out and being the face of the concussions and all that type of stuff, to doubters, to haters, to all that type of stuff. But we also just seem like we got a more refined offense that he's orchestrating now. And man, what he's able to do with that ball, the ball handling, the windows that he's getting things going into. I don't really understand why the metrics people seem to hate him. I'm not. It's interesting when you talk about these Pro Football Focus or these analytics people that put these things out there, right? Because you got to take everything with a grain of salt of what you're looking at. And certainly, I always thought places like Pro Football Focus were interesting because they were interesting for the trenches, because nobody really was doing that. Nobody was really ranking offensive linemen outside of like all pro teams. You never really got a sense of, oh, how did that guy block? How did that guy do? And then I think that, you know, to be fair to them, like they've been very high on a guy like Chop Robinson and all the metrics glowingly talking about the Dolphins rookie, and then we started seeing it pay off. For whatever reason, Tua hasn't cracked that nut for them, and why he hasn't impressed, I don't really understand that. I think it's because, if I had to guess, it's because Tua throws in a lot of dangerous places. He's a cat burglar. Tua fits things into tight windows. Like, he's a guy that looks like he's living on the edge, but there definitely is a method to his madness on how he's doing things. And so I don't know. I don't really know what to make of that, because you have a lot of the haters. Even this Chris Sims was trying to oh, Tua, you're the best. Colin Cowherd. You're seeing a lot of the rat bastards are trying to get back into the fold, get into the circus tent. But here's the reason I don't trust it, because if he doesn't go win this game, they are going to be grabbing their snorkel masks and their rat asses are going to go overboard. And I think a lot of people will. I think that it doesn't. And I don't think Tua feels the weight of this. I don't think this is a pressure thing for him, because I find him to be a very mentally tough person. But it does feel like if the Dolphins don't get this done, or at least have a great back and forth, right? If it's not a very competitive game and the Dolphins go and pull a week 2 and they get drop kicked, or if they pull a Kansas City and just never feel like they showed up off the bus to handle the elements, I just feel like you're gonna have a lot of people very, very disappointed and thinking I can't believe I started thinking, oh, here we go again. And maybe some people aren't even there again, because they're just such at an arm's distance with this thing. They don't want to get hurt again. They don't want to feel fooled again. But if you are going to do anything for real, we've talked about it. If you're going to do anything for real, you go and win this game, right? You go into that building, historic, prime time, really have the best matchup of the day. The football kind of sucks, the other games. Like the Lions against the Bears. The Lions are fun, so that'll get everybody's whistle wet. But when we're all together and we're gathered around, we got to watch Tommy DeVito and Cooper Rush. And it's while as historic as that rivalry is, it's not going to get the juices flowing like Thursday Night Football is. Thursday Night Football is going to feel very much like the main event, where a lot of the times it's kind of like, if you guys don't know, in boxing, a lot of times after the main event, there's a cool-down fight afterwards. And it will be two guys have to walk afterwards, where people are watching them, so things aren't as crazy getting out of a building. But this is, without a doubt, the Dolphins and Packers is the main event of that day. Also, yeah, it's always tough to outrun the narratives of the 2020 draft class. While Jordan Love has never really been in there with the Justin Herbert thing, because he just kind of got into the game late. He also got paid big-time money. He's won a playoff game. So in some ways, he feels ahead of the curve on Tua. And then you have some other people who are like, oh, Brian Flores wanted Jordan Love. I don't believe any of that horse bleep when it comes out. I'm always like, oh, really? Convenient. Oh, you wanted that quarterback, not the other quarterback that you hated? Fair enough. But Tua did say something that was interesting today that I thought was kind of cool, because he was talking about, would he wear a glove? And he's like, no glove. I was like, oh, no glove? Because he goes, we now know what real cold is. And mind you, this was a kid who at one point was saying, I'm going to go test out the cold. I'm going to go work out in Maryland with my brother. And I'm like, not that Maryland can't get cold, but it's not the coldest, dude. You're not going out here with the world's deadliest catch. That's not what you're gonna. Those are not the elements you're gonna have to brave. And I think those guys are in Alaska. I don't even think they're in Maryland. I just thought Maryland crabs, pinch, whatever, dude. You get the point. The point is, Tua's not wearing a glove. All right, he's putting it out there that the glove thing is soft. I actually would like to see Tua in the frozen tundra. Goes out there. I think he goes shirtless throwing session, has the new tats out to show everybody. Thin Tua. Tyreek Hill says he's not fat anymore. You even go out there, you do a couple of you do some lunges out there, show everybody what's what, that to me would be the ultimate, oh yeah, we're ready. Play little head games with them, you know what I mean? That is the place where I would be very, very interested to see what kind of mind games Tagovailoa can play with the Green Bay Packers going into this one. But there's no doubt about it, since week 2, this is the most important game. This is the game with the most juice. You could argue Bills, sure. That would certainly been nice to split. But the thing is, with the Bills game, morale felt very low going into that game. And I think everybody was just kind of like, this team, just have a good showing. Don't embarrass me, because the Bills have killed the Dolphins. This one feels bigger than that. I don't know if it's the holiday. I don't know if it's the night. I don't know if it's getting back to 500. I don't know why, but to me, this one feels even bigger than the Bills road game that they just had. So looking forward to it. It's Goosey's galore, dude. It's turkey galore. It's all happening for us on Thanksgiving. Please don't blow this.